Okay, and we're back with the August Power Rankings. These ones were a doozy. So, what happened this month? We had the finish of two majors. They both finished at the start of August, so they're a little out of memory. But we had two majors finished, and that I really thought was going to take over a lot of the rankings. It ended up not taking over that much of the rankings. And I think I'm okay with that because, in general, I have a lot of other ranking stuff that talks about majors, right? Majors are just most of the historical record I keep. They're going to get ample credit elsewhere. They don't have to get that much credit in these power rankings to still feel important and impactful. On the other hand, they'll still be a big part of the rankings. We also had chat tournaments, GBs, TTN, the usual stuff. There was a GB with the deadline extended. I decided to just boot it to next month. Um, I think there's enough going on this month, and calm down, calm down. There were 20 players with at least one top four, or if we include majors, which I do from top eight onward. There were 20 players with at least one result, and only half of those could make the top 10. Nine of those players won an event, and traditionally, winning an event automatically includes you in the top 10. And here I had a choice between players who won an event or players that went deep in a major or players that had multiple finishes that weren't a win. And I do want to credit people for deep major runs, so I ended up cutting some of them, which means this is the first month we're ever doing an honorable mentions because, like, come on, right? So the four players that missed, I felt worst about. Metis, very solid case. This is one of those that should usually finish kind of seventh to 10th in a month. This was just to say, even this kind of resume wasn't very close to making it. This came 14th. Tezuka and Vialva came, both won an event. Oh, I. Hmm. So I had decided between Sir Deagle and someone else, and then I undecided it. So the Sir Deagle comment shouldn't be here. We'll come back to him. Also, it should say Cosmo. So ignore the whole Sir Deagle part. But Tezuka and Vialva each won an event. They didn't really play anything else, and if they did, they didn't make top four. But I think they played very few other events. Vialva played another chat tournament, got like Seto in the first round and lost, or Akiyama, whatever. But this is to say, these are both players that won events. This should be automatic inclusion. I think I'm right to kick them out this month, but like obviously these two players put up performances that many months would be a top five or six performance, and yeah, this month just had too much going on. So for 10th, I was really unsure. I'm leaning Cliffy, but let's talk it through. Deagle was a Cosmos semifinalist and came fourth in two different TTN GBs. Cliffy was a Triad Wars 15 semifinals and came fourth in one GB, a TTA GB, though with a sub 100 score, which usually won't get you fourth, and I tend not to give quite as much credit. So if we just look at the kind of top line stuff, they both have a major semifinals, and Deagle has two fourths to Cliffy's one, and Deagle's fourths are better. However, fourths aren't making that much difference in my ranking. It's certainly part of it, obviously, but, you know, not near as good as a top 1, 2, or 3 finish. So the question is, do I think a Triad Wars 15 semifinals finish is enough better than a Cosmos semifinals finish to pass kind of one and a half extra fourths? And I think it is. Now, Deagle did not get a bye, right? To make the semifinals, Deagle had to go 2-1, and to make the semifinals, Cliffy had to go 3-1. But I do think I value Triad Wars enough more as a format that I'm gonna say this is Cliffy and that he gets his first Power Rankings appearance here. Um, but again, even more than I think Vialva and Tezuka, Deagle is getting robbed here. This is obviously a resume well worthy of not just like 10th, but a higher spot, right? What are we going to do? Too many players doing well. It's not my fault, it's your fault. Ninth, we have Vid. Now, Vid has two quarterfinals, both in majors and also made a finals and a semis of a chat tournament. I think this all adds up to, better than a single semifinals, even though I think semifinals are a big jump more in worth from quarterfinals and majors. Semifinals is really, for me personally, when I get in the mindset of I'm playing to win this tournament rather than I'm playing to go as far as I can, especially historically, that has been my mindset in tournaments I've played, is the semifinals is when, the title feels within reach, and the quarterfinals is when you're among a pack of other excellent players. But, it doesn't stand out in the fun way that Deagle or Cliffy's months do, because this is more the resume in line with, Vid's normal stuff, and Deagle and Cliffy really broke through in a wonderful way. But I do think it's a better month overall. So Vid gets ninth. And pretty clearly better month. Seventh and eighth, this should say Cool Spot and DJ. As always, my editing is excellent, but incredibly similar performances. They each won a TTN GB, TTN meaning on the 3x3 board rather than 4x4, and they each played two other events that they finished top four. DJ got 2/3, and Cool Spot got a second and a fourth. Now, I actually counted this wrongly when I said finishing higher in two of the three events. I think I'm giving DJ seventh. In general, I think second and fourth is slightly better on average than third and third. I think I think most people would slightly prefer that. But DJ's first place was a slightly higher score, and I guess they each were ahead in one of the events they overlapped on. This is really close. I really should have checked the individual scores on the others. I'm going to go DJ, but I reserve the right to be told, nope, you should have checked the actual scores. Cool Spots were slightly higher. But I'm going to go DJ here because his win was with 113 points and Cool Spot's win was with 112. This is maybe the closest we've had to just like actually identical resumes. It's virtually the same results in the same tournaments. There's a case I should have bid higher than both, but I really am trying to credit winning events even in a month like this where I cut two event winners. And so DJ and Cool Spot get seventh and eighth. In sixth, we have Akiyama. Now, this is not an event winner, but I think it is a clearly better version of Vid's resume, right? Rather than two quarterfinals and majors, it's a semis and a quarters. As I said, I really value semifinals onwards. And also, I think in general in chat tournaments, a finals is a bunch better than a semis. 2-1 is a lot better than 1-1. Vid also has a finals and has a semis to go with it, but I think that semis is worth less than the jump from quarterfinals to semis in Triad Wars 15, especially because Akiyama beat Vid head to head. So I thought Akiyama should be better there, and I also thought it was right across the margin. I was really close with these two in Cool Spot and DJ. I had, like my first draft of this, I think I had Akiyama ninth, but he ended up in sixth. But you could easily move these four around. In fifth, we have Seto. I wasn't sure what to do with this either because, unlike the others we've seen, there were no major runs, but I generally value winning chat tournaments more than winning GBs. Part of this is my open bias, but another part of this is simply they are a much lower frequency event, right? We had essentially 5 GB type events this month, and because chat tournaments were really active, we had 3, but the ratio is usually more like 3-1 rather than 5-3. And yeah, I do value chat tournaments a bit higher than GBs, which helps Seto get to here. He also won an event and runner-up again in chat tournaments specifically. I don't value the semis so much. I value the runner-ups a lot because going 2-1 is just a lot better than going 1-1. So this added up to me to Seto as fifth, but you could very easily have him like ninth here, right? Again, this crowd was really close, and as you can see from what I wrote here, at this point in doing the power rankings, I was kind of frustrated I couldn't do this so any more cleanly than this. But I kind of came down to Akiyama beat Vid in Triad Wars, Seto beat Akiyama in a chat tournament. Obviously, Triad Wars is more important, but Whatever. These are all close. We're just going to go with the head to head. All right, let's get to the top four. We have Yevon. Now, Yevon just racked up tons of results. I think, third in a GB, semifinals, and two chat tournaments. These are all very pleasant, but if he just had these three results, he wouldn't even be close to making the top 10 this month, which is absurd. But he also has semifinals in a major. Again, he did not get the bye, and he made semifinals in the major. So that's going 2-1 there. And lost to the eventual winner, I believe. Unless I'm forgetting the bracket. Did he lose to Delhi or Turds? I don't remember. I should probably have looked that up or remembered it. But that said, he also won a GB, and I thought when you add all of that together, that's got to beat the crowd we've just seen. It's Yevon did a lot this month, and this is not even including. And if we gave even a slight boost for this, it becomes clear he belongs at least fourth. That he is in the Balance of Power finals, and he is coming from winner's bracket. So he is, assuming they are equal strength players, he's about 75% to win Balance of Power. So if anything, this is too low on Yevon, who gets fourth. In third, we have myself, was up. I won the most important major to go on and didn't do anything else. I think that's got to beat, Seto's chat tournament winner and chat tournament finals. There's a case that Yevon's ahead of this. I thought it belonged top three, but very much third compared to the top two. So let's move on to more interesting collections of results. In second, we have Delial, who runner-up to SE Cosmos and made Triad Wars 15 quarterfinals. So this is already, looking about on par with Akiyama's majors runs. But that's not to include that he was the only player to win two events this month, winning a GB and a TTM GB, and get a third place to boot. So this is, Akiyama's resume this month on steroids, and was good enough to get second. And despite being the only two-time event winner, I think first was some distance ahead. And first is, for the second month in a row, Turds. He wins SE Cosmos. He runner-up Triad Wars 15. This is obviously the best overall resume in majors, winning a major and finaling the other. To boot, he has 4 different second places across different GBs and a fourth. So across however many events there were this month, he has 6 runner-ups, or 6 at least runner-up finishes, including top 2 in 2 majors, and he won a major, winning his 3rd major and joining a group of, let's see if I remember this in the right order. I think this is the order of players who have won 3 majors. I always forget if Seto or Delial did it first. Seto got to 2 first, and then Delial got to 2. Like, Seto was up 2-0, I think. And then Delial tied it up 2-2. And then did Deli get his 3rd before Seto got his 3rd? I think he did. I think Seto got his 3rd Triad Wars 8. So I think Deli gets to 3, then Seto gets to 3, but I could be wrong. I get to 3. Great Sephiroth gets to 3. That's 4. And then Yojimbo gets to 3. He's the 5th. That one's definitely the correct order. The others, I might have the order wrong. He's the 5th. And then no one gets to 3 for a long time. No. Then Slash gets to 3. He wins SE Sephiroth, gets to 3. Slash is the 6th. And then Cookie wins Zidane earlier this year. He gets to 7. And Turds wins Cosmos to be the 8th player to ever win 3 tournaments. And gets another Player of the Month. For the Player of the Year race, Delial with a 2nd place extends his lead because the previous 2nd place in the overall Player of the Year race did not play hardly at all this month. So Delial moves in first, and his lead grows. He was up 76-61. He was up by 15. Now he is up by 19. The most you can get for winning a Player of the Month, you get 15 points for first, 12 for second, 10 for third, 8 for fourth, and then 6 counting down for 5th through 10th. Um, so Delial's lead is pretty substantial, and with 4 months left in the year, I believe the total points by the winner of my Player of the Year race last year was Turds with 120. Delial needs 32 more points to break that record, which means if he comes fourth in the Player of the Month race for the last 4 months of the year, he will tie the record if he comes fourth every month. If he can do better than that, he is our best Player of the Year race winner, and he's very likely to win at this point. It is hard to overcome a 19-point gap. That's it. Turds moves up into second. Ray has an inactive month, but also Turds was Player of the Month this year, and very deservedly so, and Turds passes him for second. Ray still very comfortable third. He's had a wonderful year, even though he basically joined the site at the start of the year, but didn't play any events till February, I think. So he missed a month at the start, still had a fantastic year, missed this month basically. So he's just chucked 2 months of the year and is still firmly in third. Akiyama's been somewhat less active this year than last year, but very deservedly in fourth, and I think I would very strongly bet on him to finish fourth for the year, though Vid is certainly putting a run towards that spot as well. Zelder and Addy were both pretty inactive this month, but have had good years. Yevon racking up results. This was one of his best months this year. Moves from, I think, 10th to 8th, but I didn't actually, I should have had the up arrow there. God, I do such a bad job on these. I spend like so long staring at the order and like futzing around with it, and then I'm not even sure of it, and then I forget to edit the stuff I wrote before I locked in the order, and it's all a calamity. Apologies for that. I should do better on this. In ninth, we have Zoom, who has not been too active the last couple months, but his excellent run in Zidane, along with some other things, propels him this high. And in 10th, I make it back into the top 10 with my second good month of the year. We have DJ is pretty close behind, Kaustev and Nair, who made a quarterfinals in a major, and I didn't even mention the honorable mentions because this month was nuts. Is also fairly close to being in the top 10. I think that's it. What an exhausting road. See, I'm pretty happy I pushed the next GB to next month. Though actually, if I remember right, that's a great GB for Delial and Turds, so it probably wouldn't even change these rankings much. So maybe it would have been better if I had included it here because it's going to clog up next month. But honestly, Delial and Turds will probably do well next month as well, and it won't change things too much. So we'll talk about all that next month, and I'll see you then. I'm really excited for TTAC. I should have mentioned. TTAC is starting. I'm hoping to catch a lot of the games. The recordings of that surely won't come out for a while, but if you give me a heads up you're playing and I'm around, I will really try to record the game. And also, if I record the game and you tell me you'd like it released earlier, I will try to adjust the schedule. I won't have any games released during the round they happen in because I don't want to give opinions on hands and play while it could still affect the action. That's a big part of the reason I only release stuff ever, even when I have less of a backlog to get through. But I would be happy to adjust my many scheduled videos a bit. I've scheduled videos into November, man. Like, I gotta stop recording like anything but majors. I think because it's just going to be so far out that by the time stuff releases, people have a lot less interest in what that is. And like, it's okay that people have less interest, right? I'm not like I'm never going to get more than like 14 views a video, but which is fine. But it would be nice if those 14 views are like, oh yeah, I was hoping to see this game, not like, oh yeah, this happened 4 months ago, right? Shame I missed this game. Now I get to watch it 2 days later. That would be nice. It would be nice to eventually be on something. Maybe I'll stop at some point doing my like video every 2 days schedule and just start start just releasing whenever I happen to record, and that way everything can feel quite timely. I think it would be really nice to do a major at some point that way, where I can basically release when stuff happens. Though again, I'd like to wait till the round finishes, so it will never quite line up perfectly. But it would be nice to be more topical, and maybe someday I can get there. All right, see you next time.